Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Oh, one moment. And enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming. To 70 Mounts Wood of the Gaming Drag today. I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Solstice Eve. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alrighty. I'm alone. I wander the halls for what feels like eternity, looking for something. Anything. A sign of life, a change in environment, a sound other than the repetitive droning of my footsteps. I scream in frustration, but no echo reverberates through the halls. I'm well and truly alone. Shell doesn't show up to chastise me. There's no point in her doing so. I'm already good enough at tormenting myself without her help. After what feels like an eternity of aimless wandering, I wake up. The day passes by uneventfully. Work is utterly meaningless, as always. All I can think of is my meeting with Darwin tomorrow. The matter with Shell weighs heavy on me as always, especially after the events of last night. But I can't help but look forward to seeing him once more. Day 6. 47 days into the Solstice Festival. The clinging camber is empty once more as I wait at my table at the corner. I start to wonder how Ella sustains it even. Darwin hasn't arrived yet. Shell, the stone shears, the magic circle. I can't stop thinking of everything I've found this week. Is it all connected? It feels like I'm still so far away from a concrete answer. Hello, Cantor! My thought process is interrupted by the sudden remark from Ella. Hello? Hello. Hello. Huh, your antolin isn't half bad. That's just because... She immediately starts fumbling over her words and stuttering. I'm only saying simple words. Well, your accent is good. Your parents clearly taught you well. There's a slight pause. Say that again? Your accent is good. Your parents taught you well. No, an antolin. I want to improve my skills. I'm not asking you to be my teacher or anything, but speaking the language with a native is a good way to learn. So, at the risk of conversation being a bit slow, I'd like to try it out, alright? Huh, sure thing. I make a mental note to myself to ensure that I speak a bit slower than I'm used to from now on. So, why do you want to improve your antolin? Well, since I'm a dragonkin, I spoke with my parents before, but they're dead now. I don't want to forget it. Impressive. The fact that she's actively trying to maintain the skill is good. I'm not, which is coming to bite me in the ass right now. Try as I might, speaking antolin feels unnatural somehow. Just like last time I tried, I know the words and I can think of what to say, but the way I speak still feels wrong. The words don't come out right. I can only hope that this issue will fix itself with practice. I just know it since I'm from the place. I see, so you're all, exposed to the whole dragonkin thing, huh? Exposed? The whole thing? I mean, being a dragonkin in Antalos is different than being one here. Like with culture. Yeah, all the traditions, the festivals, the moronic rules... Moronic? Stupid, unnecessary. You don't know how lucky you are to be missing those. No, I'm not. You don't know how it feels. She says that with a seriousness that indicates that I really shouldn't stand my ground here. Well, imagine my upbringing in Antalos was somewhat unusual with regards to all the traditions and limitations imposed on me. I think the formal style of speech drilled into me might be hard for Ella to understand, as she pauses for a moment after I say that. I don't know how Antalos is either. I might be wrong. I've only heard good though. Anyways, the Night of the Lights was last week. Did you celebrate it? Was it? It's usually too much of a hassle to celebrate. Ella seems genuinely offended at that statement. What? I've always enjoyed it so much. Spending the night with my family, chatting, eating a feast, lighting the 36 candles around the house to represent the stars. Oh wow, that's definitely a fire hazard. I've heard that in Antalos they have special candles that shine like the real stars that people use during the feast. Is that true? Those? They're mostly just tacky novelty items that most would simply scoff at. Besides, Antalans don't believe in the stars like the Vidgorians do, so it's not as though we care too much about that holiday. Yeah, well... The holiday isn't as widely celebrated in Talos as it is by Dragonkin and Vitgor, I suppose. It probably differs for each family. It clearly matters quite a bit to Ella, though. What a shame. You know, it took a bit to get my husband to join as well, since he's, what's the word for dwarven in Antalan? I think there isn't any. Antalos is too far away from any land that has them. But why would him being a dwarf affect it? Well, he's from one of those families that worship the stars so much that they don't step out into the surface at night for anything that isn't. How do you say it? A ritual. Ah, the traditionalists. Aren't they a dying breed? Yeah, he isn't one anymore, but it still felt wrong to him to dine among the stars. It was only after he lost his job at the mines that I managed to get him to try it in order to cheer up. And he started enjoying it as well. It was a great holiday. He lost his job at the mines? Well, yeah, there was a cave-in. His leg was saved, but it was too injured for him to keep on working there. It's common for it to happen, unfortunately. Ah, I've heard of cases like that. Yeah. Part of why I took over this tavern is to help with getting more cash for the two of us, though progress on that has been slow. Well, I'm here at least. True. You know what Antalon holiday I do like, though? The Feast of Ravel. The Feast of Ravel? I don't know it. Well, that makes sense. I imagine it'd be difficult to celebrate it outside of Antalis. Legend goes that thousands of years ago, Ravel Teffer, a legendary warrior, beheaded the Dragon King who had enslaved the Dragonkin, and freed us from a terrible period of servitude. In honor of him, the feast was held. Now, it's customary that feasts in Antalis only end after the one they're held in honor of has had their fill. Unfortunately, it's said that Ravel was cursed by the Dragon King with an insatiable appetite. After 10 days straight of eating and partying, everyone but him was tired of the feast. When the food ran out, he started attacking the cooks who weren't feeding him in a rage. His rampage lasted for a whole day before a brave civilian cooked up a poisonous meal for him, which killed him and put a stop to the rampage. As atonement to Ravel, the civilian was executed, and it was decided that a 10 days long feast would be held all over Antalis whenever the anniversary of the liberation came around. Atonement? He killed people! See, those are the moronic rules I talked about in action. Ravel was our liberator, so his word was tantamount to the word of a king. That's stupid. Yep, but in honor of Ravel killing a bunch of people, you get 10 days of non-stop feasting and socializing every year. That, and one of the few times of year when I had any respite from my family. Oh-ho! What are you two gurgling about over there? Feasts. Mass murder. That as well. Oh my, a feast sounds nice, but the prospect of mass murder is quite troubling. What a model response to hear from a former guard. Ha! Something substantial to eat would be good, though. You know how it is near the end of the week when I'm itching to transform. I don't actually, but I can imagine. Ella seems slightly confused before glancing down at the bracelet of binding on Darwin's wrist. She neglects to make a comment. Well then, what is it that you'd like to eat? Ale and bread, and meat of any kind if you've got that. Ale for me as well. Got it. Ella sets off behind the counter, humming to herself, and we're left to ourselves. So, want to talk business? Shell business, that is. Sure. So I'll start with a bit of disappointment. I didn't find much. I found the files documenting the investigation to Shell's death that the guards led, but they weren't particularly detailed, missing details from the scene of the discovery, inconsistent timelines, and so on. They did mention the fact that Shell was investigating the stone shears, but only said that they couldn't find any conclusive evidence. Beyond that, nothing on the wand. The guards responsible aren't particularly hard-working, you see. Odds are they just did the bare minimum to appease whatever pressure was placed on them. Or they had a motive for not documenting the investigation properly. Well, could be. But I don't think so. I've known these guys for a long time. This behavior is consistent for them. So the guards are just lazy. Well, yeah. Even I could do a better job than some of them. Instead, I'm just stuck training them. Not that I mind training my men. They're good guys, yeah? It's fun, just... it's a bit rough sometimes. Especially when I'm faced with situations like this. Yeah, that makes sense. I found some stuff by talking with another close friend of Shell's. Doesn't clarify much, though. What do you mean? Well, I'll start with the stuff that's clear. Shell did visit the Silk District infrequently, looking for evidence of the Stone Shear's misdeeds. Seems she focused more on investigating the guild itself, though. Apparently her eldest brother, the current patriarch of the Strom family, said he'd help her if she found something definitive. As for the weirder aspect... if you recall, Shell's wand was seemingly tampered with, and investigations only registered it as having cast a single spell, a gibberish magic circle that seemingly amounts to nothing and does nothing. Second, y'all. Water time. Alright, guys and gals, and we are back. Let's jump back in, shall we? Okay. Seems like the magic circle really is nonsense. However, it's nonsense that relates to something odd, an old field of study that has since been abandoned by the guild, tied to recycling used keystones. I won't bore you with the details, but... no, please, do mention it. I know I'm not particularly versed in magic, but I figure I should know at least a basic version of what it is, no? Alright. As you might know, Eisenberg is currently facing a shortage of keystones. Most of the keystones that currently exist have already had magic circles carved into them. These circles are the way in which the keystones can be used to create magic tools, but the process of carving a circle into a keystone is, to the best of our knowledge, irreversible. However, before the keystone boom, the guild was still researching this, and was looking for ways to repurpose used keystones. Darwin furrows his brows. And you say they gave up on this? Isn't it obvious we'd run into another keystone shortage eventually? Well, yes, but the guild figured this research was a dead end. Instead, they're chasing another pipe dream, one which any magician worth their salt would laugh at. Mana amplification, they call it. The idea of squeezing the most magical energy possible from a single drop of mana to the point of making it from nothing by harnessing mana from the air. The reason keystones are used to power magic circles is because they have properties similar to this already. In theory, achieving this would mean that we would cast spells and create magical tools without utilizing keystones, bypassing the need to wait for keystone booms in order to sustain the guild. Supposedly it's a more feasible thing to achieve, but I fail to see how. Sorry, I lost you. It's fine, that's not the point of this. Regardless, the past research into repurposing keystones failed. It managed to change the circles on the keystones, but not to anything that made sense. Instead, it changed them into circles similar to what was casted from Shell's wand. Utter nonsense? Exactly. The odd part is why this was found on her wand. Did Shell play a part in the research into, keystone repurposing, was it? Well, I don't think so. I don't know. Truthfully, over the course of this week, I've been discovering much that I didn't know in the past about Shell. Due to my own past negligence, of course. So I can't say for certain, but I gleaned this information from a close friend of Shell's, and she didn't know of anything tying the two either. Well, at least we have the plausible reason for why Shell was found in the Silt District. I figure looking into the guard's investigation further won't amount to much, but I wonder if I could talk with some of the miners to see if we find something. Someone who talked to Shell while she was out investigating her, who can point us towards some clue related to the stone shears. Meanwhile, I could investigate the guild further. Yeah! So that's our plan for now, I suppose. There's a bit of silence as we wait for our order. You know, I don't think it's true that you didn't care about Shell. I shift my gaze. I didn't. I'm not like you. Emotions aren't so simple. You clearly care about what happened to her now. You spent over half your life with her. Just because the feelings aren't simple to put into words doesn't mean there's nothing. Even if it's not love, even if it's not all positive. It's hard to look Darwin in the eye when he's this earnest. Do you... Darwin's interrupted by the sound of the door slamming open. In walks a white wolf dressed in ratty, well-worn garbs. Ella's eyes widen at the sight of him. I hear muttering from Darwin. Not this asshole. I'm thankful for the chance to change the topic. You know him? He's a former guard, was taken in after a friend of mine convinced us to give him a chance, and he consistently proved us wrong to have done so. Always caused trouble and even got jailed once. Hey. Oh, Tristan, okay. Hey. With a scowl, Ella moves from behind the counter. Hello, Tristan. There's still a week left before the next payment is due. What are you doing here? I'm here to give you a reminder is all. Don't make me laugh. You're here to intimidate me. Wrong. I'm here to... Hey. Mind telling me what's going on here? Darwin pops up between the two, firmly placing his hand on Tristan's shoulder. The wolf clicks his tongue. You! What are you doing here? Visiting a local tavern that I've grown quite fond of. And as for you? Giving this woman an out from a bad deal. Bullshit! I don't care if the stone shears are behind you. I'm not going to sell this place. So you want to go broke? You're going to pay off debt that isn't yours? You're being done a favor here. Opportunities like this don't come around often. As if I trust those snakes. You've clearly got ulterior motives. Look, Someone mind telling me what's going on? Darwin's voice is booming, clearly impatient. Apparently I'm in debt. It's not mine. It belonged to the previous owner of this establishment, but apparently due to some once-forgotten law of the city, I've inherited it as the current lawful owner. What? That's absurd. It's the law. The debt is tied to the property, and I'm offering her a way out of it. My employer is willing to purchase this estate from her and annul the debt, leaving her with a sizable sum of cash along the way. I inherited this tavern. I'm not planning on selling it. Alright, y'all, I'm actually gonna pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to have a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for what I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 3 gold tier patrons, Zeke, Toby, and Blue Wolf Alpha. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if you want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our Safe for Work contents as little as $5. If y'all don't want to donate to our Patreon, you can donate using Super Thanks on YouTube. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!